Barbara Park. And so just a little bit about her. She was born in 1947 and died in 2013 from ovarian cancer. She was born and raised in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and after high school she attended Rider College and graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in secondary education. She had all intentions of teaching history and or political science. She learned that teaching wasn't for her right around the time that she married her husband, Richard Park, and started a family. Her husband was in the military, but they ended up living most of their life in Arizona with their two boys. Once she figured out that writing was something that she wanted to do, she started out by writing greeting cards for Hallmark and articles for newspapers. So Barbara Park describes her career in writing. There was an interview done, and she said that she would describe it as slipping in the back door. She called herself a class clown in high school. She liked to make everyone laugh, and she was actually voted wittiest in her class. She thought she could probably be funny on paper too, but she needed to find a publisher that would understand her writing, especially after failing with Hallmark and her newspaper article writing. When she started out writing, she always wrote like middle grade novels, and her first novel that she actually felt right writing was Operation Dump the Chump in 1982. Eventually, her publisher, Janet, found her and she gave her a chance, and she asked her to write an easy series for new readers. And to start, she said, okay, write a 4-book miniseries with short chapters. And this is when she started writing her most well-known series, Junie B. Jones. Also, just a little side note, the same publisher asked the author of the Magic Tree House. That's the same way that the Magic Tree House book series got started, with these by asking the author to write a little 4-book mini-series to get started. So, like I said, Junie B. Jones was her best-known books. She had a total of 28 books in the whole series. Her publisher gave her a reading level and how long approximately the books should be, and then she told her to go with it. Barbara was initially worried about her dry humor, that it wouldn't transfer to first and second graders, but eventually she was able to find herself and get into the head of a 5-year-old girl. So this moves into her writing style, and she tried to write exactly like a 5-year-old would, with language errors and everything and all. Like she said funnest and the bestest, which eventually got some backlash from parents and some teachers later. So through Junie B. Jones, Barbara Park has kept kids and adults laughing. That was also considered one of her writing styles, very humorous. The series was one of New York Times bestseller book for over 180 weeks, and it's been translated into multiple languages. She is very well known for this Junie B. Jones series, and it was featured in a lot of magazines. So one quote that Barbara said that really stuck with me was, she said, "There are those who believe that the value of a children's book can be measured only in terms of the moral lessons it tries to impose or the perfect role models it offers. Personally, I happen to think that a book is of extraordinary value if it gives a reader nothing more than a smile or two. In fact, I happen to think that's huge." So she kind of took this and she brought this into her other books that she also wrote. Like I mentioned before, Operation Dump the Chump was one of the first novels that she wrote, and this book was also in the first-person point of view about a boy who was just tired of his little brother and he kind of just wanted out. Another book that she wrote was Mick Hart Was Here. This book was another book for the same age group approximately, again in the first person. It was about a boy whose grandfather and mother raised him, and then all the things that he went through when his grandfather had early onset Alzheimer's disease. And then the last book that I highlighted that was very big in her career was The Kid in the Red Jacket. This book was, again, first person point of view with all the dialogue and humor that was in all the other books. And this book was about a boy who moved to a new neighborhood and he kind of had to get to know everyone. So, specifically, her writing styles, she writes in informal language that children can relate to and understand. Her books are all set in either a school or the kids are talking about school. So, again, another thing that students can relate to. They're mostly all written in first person point of view, and her work has a lot of links to her life and her kids' lives. And so the informal, which I think this is a very interesting thing to that her writing style kind of progressed as her characters progressed. Once her characters got older, she started using language that kids would use as they got older. She stopped using the word funnest. She wrote more fun. She didn't write bestest friend. She wrote best friend and things like that. And here are my references. And that's all.